Welcome, Gordon Mann at the D3Hoops.com Classic here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now joined by the University of Laverne's head coach, Anthony Mason. Coach, first off, welcome to Vegas.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
First game was a rough one today. You played Rhodes. You dropped that one 70-51. Talk to me a little bit about what went right. First off, Kiara Brown, we called her in the first half. She's like the D3 Tim Duncan. Great power moves, great skill set, leads the team in just about every category. So talk to me about what you have there in her.
I mean, Key, we got a special player. I mean, she does it all right. Hardest worker on the team. She leads the team in the weight room, leads us on the court, practices. She's just a great leader for our group, and you can see it, and they follow her.
Now, today you had some trouble establishing a player other than Brown. Who do you normally look to? Who's that? I know Howell is all SCIAC. Jackson played well.
Yeah.
Who has to be that second or third team player for you guys to succeed?
I would say Naomi does a really good job of controlling us as a point guard. We talked to her about being a quarterback. I'm like, hey, you may not always have all the touchdowns, but you're going to be somebody that distributes us, gets us set in, and gets us right. She does a really good job doing that. So usually it's going to be Hal. Alyssa Smith is going to be somebody else, the freshman, who usually steps up, does well. She's unfortunately both of them a little under the weather right now, but those are usually going to be our people that step up and kind of lead us in that spot.
One thing we noticed that we talked about during the broadcast, often SCIAC teams are short. 5'1" point guards, 5'5" forwards, 5'7". You have really good height and really good. I know you inherited this roster, but how do you get to a different level of height than the other teams in your conference?
That's a great question. That's a great question. When I figure that one out, I'll let you know. I think we're looking for it, but I think most of all, most SCIAC teams are looking for talent, right? And so we try to find the talent that's around us. And so for me, I've been lucky enough to coach All-Americans that were 5'5" at the guard spot. You know what I mean? So if they can do it, they can do it. We're going for them.
So you've had a tremendous career in Division III. You're only 3 years in, but you have a great winning percentage, a bunch of very good seasons at Vassar. Talk to me about how you come. This is a homecoming for you. So.
Yeah. So this is, to be honest with you, Laverne's 15 minutes from where I grew up.
Okay.
So, so I went to school in Long Beach, but I grew up in Pomona.
Okay.
So I grew up in Pomona. So I grew up passing by, driving by the tent. So coming home, I love Vassar. Everything that Vassar gave me. Great school, great administration, great kids. But it was a move for my family, and I loved what Laverne is doing as far as academically, giving first-generation students a chance to succeed at college. I really love what Laverne was doing. So when this job opened up, it was a no-brainer for me to apply, to get back home, get closer to my parents, let my son grow up around his grandparents and all that kind of stuff. So it made all the sense in the world.
A little warmer winters too.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So you take over the program in August. You were doing a great job at Vassar. That's pretty late, right? So
yeah.
Everybody who's going to be on your roster is already, for the most part, in the doors.
Absolutely.
Your schedule is set. You have to come up with your staff in a relatively short period of time. Yeah. What were those first few months like? Because kids came back to campus maybe 60 days after you were hired?
Yeah. So, it was quick, right? So I get hired where I'm on campus. We're trying to find the right staff. Lucked out in Barb Satongan. She was one of our point guards at Pepperdine, top 5 in the nation assist to turnover ratio. Just a great player, great basketball IQ for these kids to learn from. So just completely lucked out being able to get her on staff. She's been such a blessing to us, and it was just trying to get to know the kids, right? As soon as they could get on campus, hey, let's set up meetings, let's talk, let's figure out life. Because that's really what it's about, is trying to get to know the kids. What are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What are they trying to do? And so that was it.
Did you have much interaction with the players during the interview process?
I did. During the interview process, we had a good group of them that came through. So it was nice getting to meet them face to face. And that was also one of the things that got me excited about the school, was getting to meet those young women and see who they were, the kind of questions they asked, what they were concerned about. Let me know that it was a great place to be.
So last year, the Leopards' best year in program history, ranked in the top 25, 24-3. Didn't make the tournament. In this conference, that's going to be tough. And we talked about it a lot in the broadcast. You are on an island, right? So scheduling is really tough. I imagine you inherited this schedule from Coach Pruitt. But talk to me about your scheduling philosophy, because I know for some of the SCIAC teams, it's a lot of Westmonts and Life Pacifics in the schools that are around you. Others of them travel more. Some of them host. Some of them don't.
Yeah.
What will yours look like?
So we're trying to do a little bit mix of that. We are trying to get more D3 teams. I think it's important for us to play a lot of D3 games. So we're trying to see as much as we can do. So next year, we're going to do a little mix of traveling and staying at home and trying to entice some teams to come out and play us and try to pick up on back-to-backs when they're playing other people. But it's really important for us to try to get a lot more D3 games than we've had before. And so, but again, it's hard down here in Southern California. So yeah. So it's one thing to say to plan for it, and we'll see how it goes going forward.
You have one more game here tomorrow. What will you do in between those games in terms of getting ready?
So we're going to watch our opponent right now. We're going to sit down, get some rest, get off our feet, talk a lot about it, do a lot of whiteboard talk, and try to correct some of the errors that we made today that we just aren't typical errors for us. But when your last game was, I think, December 6th, he got that long layoff. We came back and we looked rusty. So we got to fix that and see what we can fix in 24 hours.
Anything that you'll do in Vegas besides basketball? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
We'll probably go to a movie tonight. That'll be the most of what we do, because we'll also support our men's team that's here. So after this game, we'll support our men's team, do a little talk, have dinner, go out, have dinner, and then we'll go catch a movie tonight.
Last thing for you, break down the conference for me. You guys are the favorites. Claremont's very good. Redlands won the tournament last year. How do you see the SCIAC?
SCIAC's wide open. I mean, if you look at the teams from just top to bottom, some of the great wins they've already had in this season, I think it's going to be tough from going literally from top to bottom. I don't want to say who's favorite, who's not, because you've had some teams with some great wins, some great competing. You saw Whittier competing with NYU. You see the wins that Cal Luz had. Like, you see all these teams and what they're doing. It's going to be wide open this year.
Coach Anthony Mason of the Verne Leopards. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thank you. Have a good one.